Alright mates, how's it going? Did you have a good Christmas? In today's video, it's chapter 6 of Tides of Darkness by Aaron Rosenberg. This is the first script I've written since the Wowhead Spotlight thing, so welcome to all the new peeps. Thanks for subscribing and stuff. Let's go! Gul'dan was bloody furious because things were not going according to plan.
Why have you not succeeded yet?
We're trying, Gul'dan. We've been able to animate the bodies, but not give them consciousness. At the moment, they're little more than shells. We can direct them as puppets, but their movements are sloppy and slow. They don't really pose a threat to anyone. Rakmar Sharpfang, the oldest of the surviving orc necromancers, if you don't count Gul'dan himself, was the Necrolytes' unofficial leader, and as a result, he often found himself being the one who had to report the bad news to the High Warlock. So it kinda sucked to be him. But Gul'dan just stood there, glaring at the bodies strewn on the ground. Lifeless. Useless. They'd been humans once, warriors, slain here in the battle for Stormwind, but they could potentially be a powerful addition to the Horde. The new forces that the old warlock had promised Doomhammer. But only if these worthless assistants pulled their fingers out their asses and stopped faffing about.
Find a way!
Gul'dan was half tempted to strike some Necrolytes down right where they stood, but he stopped himself. They'd be even more useless if they were dead. However, a thought then popped into his head. Brilliant. Of course. That was the answer.
You're right, Rakmar. You're trying your best. I understand. This is a new and different thing we are attempting. It would pose a great challenge to anyone. I have no right to be angry that you have not yet succeeded. Please, return to your work. I will leave you in peace to experiment once more.
Thank you. Gul'dan could see that Rakmar was a little bit taken aback by the sudden empathy, as were the other warlocks, and he suppressed a chuckle, simply nodding to them and then buggering off. Let them think he gave a shit. Let them think whatever they like. Wouldn't matter soon anyway. Gul'dan then turned a corner and found Cho'Gall, ever waiting, as always. Two-headed knob was never that far away.
The Necrolytes have served their purpose. Now they have a new one, a far greater one. Gather our implements. We shall be making a sacrifice.
Sometime later, after Gul'dan and Cho'Gall had done a little bit of construction and sent out a call for the Necrolytes to join them. Are we summoning our fallen brethren? Rakmar spoke softly, but Gul'dan could see he and the other Necrolytes were desperately trying to figure out what this new altar was all about.
Yes. Doomhammer slaughtered the other warlocks, but their souls yet linger. We will summon them and instill them within the human bodies. They will be eager to return to this world and serve the Horde once more.
Right. That'll definitely animate them. But will it give them power? Or will they be little more than walking corpses?
Silence! We begin.
And begin they did. Gul'dan summoned his magic and felt it fill him with power. Not enough power, mind you, but that would soon change. But in the meantime, he continued channeling his energies into the altar, priming it for the transformation he was about to evoke. And the rest of the Necrolytes joined in, lending their own magic to the incantation. Gul'dan couldn't stop the weird arousal growl from popping out. He was just too damned excited. He jizzed his pants, guys, it's in the book. We all know I just read them verbatim and I'm gonna get sued. With the Necrolytes good and distracted, it was finally time. So he moved behind Rakmar, unsheathed his dagger, and slit the poor sod's throat. And as Rakmar gasped and choked and fell and thrashed and stuff, Gul'dan stabbed him right in the chest and removed the still beating heart. And then cast a spell, binding Rakmar's spirit within it.
Do not fear, Rakmar, for this is not the end of you. On the contrary, you shall now actually succeed at your task.
Gul'dan then let out a goofy chuckle.
That's the good thing about necromancers. We never let anything go to waste.
The old warlock then glanced up and observed his surroundings. Cho'Gall had already killed many of the other Necrolytes, and the remaining ones were kinda just shitting themselves in a corner. Too scared to either flee or fight. Typical. Even in their final moments, they were bloody worthless.
Well, have you succeeded? I have, noble Doomhammer.
Gul'dan then gestured at the bodies behind him, which Orgrim looked at and raised an eyebrow.
Fallen Stormwind soldiers. Big whoops. Did you ask me here to show me you could line up bodies neatly? Is this the extent of your power, Gul'dan? To prepare corpses for burial?
Ooh, how Gul'dan longed to wipe the smirk off this asshole's face. But now is not the time.
Of course not. Watch.
Gul'dan then nodded to Cho'Gall,
who knelt down near the first body and placed a jewelled baton type thing in the corpse's hand. It had been quite time consuming creating those enchanted weapons, but without said weapons, this new force would be far less powerful. The corpse itself then stirred slightly before rising to its feet, its movements stiff at first but becoming more fluid by the second, and it then opened its eyes, revealing them to be a glowing red.
You have succeeded then, Gul'dan. You have returned my spirit to this world. Excellent.
Welcome back, Terran Gorefiend. Yes, I have brought you back, to further serve the Horde.
The war chief then stepped forward and studied the creature.
Gorefiend? One of your warlocks from the Shadow Council? I killed him myself.
We all give ourselves to the Horde. Gorefiend's soul had not departed this plane. I merely recalled it, and found it a new home. Only now his very body is imbued with sorcery. He's more powerful than ever.
This then is what you give me. Walking corpses, powered by your dead acolytes.
Orgrim's face then twisted in disgust.
You asked for warriors. I provided them. They will be a match for anything the humans have and more. And although their bodies may be rotted human flesh, they are still orcs in spirit and in allegiance. And they can still wield their magic as well. Just think what they'll accomplish in battle.
Doomhammer nodded and considered those things.
Will you serve me?
War chiefs don't ask, they command, Gul'dan thought. You're weak as shit, Doomhammer. The Gorefiend considered the war chief's question for a moment, until finally, he nodded.
As Gul'dan said, I'm still an orc despite this shell. I live for the Horde. I will serve you. You killed me, but I do not hold that against you, for it has resulted in this new powerful form. I'm well pleased with the trade. Good. Good. You shall be my Death Knights, the forefront of our great Horde. Together we'll crush the humans, take their lands, and make this world safe for our people. You've done as you promised, Gul'dan. Thank you.
Of course, noble war chief. Anything for our people.
Idiot, Gul'dan thought, as Doomhammer buggered off with his newly awakened best friends. Take them and go. Return to your war. Now that you're satisfied, I'll have the freedom to concentrate on my other plans. Gul'dan would play the loyal warlock a little while longer, he vowed, but not forever. Soon enough, he'd have what he needed, and then everyone else could go suck a bag of dicks and die or something. An entire week later, the war chief stood tall in front of a fortress Zul'jin had told him about, Blackrock Spire. 'Twas a massive structure that stood atop Blackrock Mountain. Doomhammer was a little bit confused as to why this place shared the same name as his clan, despite them being from separate worlds, but whatevs. Massive bloody coincidence, mate. No reason for it, don't ask questions. Below stood the orcs of every clan, waiting eagerly to hear what their war chief had to say. He'd already led them to victory once, achieved more than Black Hand ever did, really.
My people, hear me. We've taken this land and it is good, rich with life, and we can raise strong families here. Yet it is not without its defenders. The humans are skilled and fight hard to retain what was theirs.
The crowd murmured in agreement. There was no weakness in acknowledging a powerful foe, and the humans were certainly that.
We must continue our conquest. Another land, Lordaeron, lies to the north, and once we control it, our clans may claim territories, settle, craft homes. But first, we must take it from the humans, and they will not surrender it lightly.
Now the crowd was growling, showing their willingness to fight on.
I know that you're strong. I know that you're warriors and will not falter in battle. But the humans are many, and this time, they will be ready for us. But they will not be ready for our new allies.
Doomhammer then motioned behind him, and Zul'jin stepped forward.
The forest trolls are now part of the Horde and will fight alongside us. They are as mighty as an ogre but as crafty as an orc. And they're pretty good carpenters as well. They will be our guides, our scouts, our forest warriors. Together we'd be fighting the humans, the elves, and anyone else who stands against us.
The crowd cheered, but Doomhammer wasn't finished.
They are not our only new allies.
The war chief again motioned behind him, and this time Aaron Rosenberg stepped forward. Although he wore a mask to conceal his hideous features, it was still pretty obvious to the orcs that there was something a bit off about him. So the crowd returned to murmuring again.
We are the Death Knights. We have pledged ourselves to the Horde and to Doomhammer. We will fight as one of you, and drive your enemies from this world.
Terran had requested that Doomhammer not reveal the Death Knight's true nature to the orcs, as in who they'd been before, and Doomhammer had agreed. Probably was for the best to keep that a secret for now.
The Death Knights will be our cavalry and our vanguard. They're strong and swift, and possess a dark magic that will strip away our foes' defences. And finally, we may have another new ally. Soon.
Orgrim glanced towards Zuluhead, who just kind of shrugged. Guess they still needed more time, but the Trolls and the Death Knights were enough for now.
We march north, across the land and into Khazmadan. The dwarves' lands are rich with metals and fuel. We'll take what's theirs, and we'll build a mighty fleet of ships. And with those ships, we'll sail to Lordaeron. We'll make landfall to the west and march back, catching the humans from behind. And then we'll crush them.
The crowd cheered yet again, so loudly that the mountain itself seemed to cheer back at them. The rocks around them, even the stone beneath their feet, started shaking.
The volcano speaks. The spirits within the mountain are pleased. They grant us their blessing.
Doomhammer nodded and turned back to the crowd, all of which had started chanting his name over and over again. There was a feeling of elation and pride in the air. After everything the orcs had been through up to this point, it was about time they had something to cheer about, Orgrim thought. And we're leaving it there! So that was fun. In the next video, Khadgar's going to have that awkward conversation with the Kirin Tor, which involves a few fun cameos, and then another famous Alliance character gets introduced. As usual, links in the description for the book, my Patreon page, my Discord, all of that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!